getting some extra dings in the background there.
Yeah.
It's okay. I've got Mike here. I am flying solo today, so I've got all this gear to manage, buttons, but we'll get through it today. Got a great guest on today. Mike Clark from Workforce has a great solution that everybody needs to hear about. Let's just jump right into this, Mike. So,
sure.
Give me a little the history. Let's hear the history of how this all got started and what are we solving? What's the solution that we're solving?
For sure. We've been in staffing for 27 years. We're in different industries, and we provide both temporary and permanent staff to various industries. And as we were looking to kind of expand into some other ones, I said, what's going on in the dental space? Who are the players in this space? And when I took a look around across the country, I was shocked to find that every single agency that serviced the dental industry was what I call a basement agency. They literally were run out of a basement. It was a one-person show that seemed to think they were operating an employment agency. The biggest eye-opener was when I started talking to some candidates about what their experience was like temping. They started telling me that, oh yeah, it's such a hassle to get paid. And I go, what do you mean it's a hassle to get paid? The agency pays you every week or every couple of weeks? Like, oh no. There's no agency that pays us. We get it right from the office. So right. I dig a bit deeper and I was like, whoa, hold on a second. So you're going out as a temp worker and the agency's not employing you and the office is employing you? And they said, well, half the time I have to show up and I have to fill out paperwork and like all my tax forms and my direct deposit. And then the other half of the time they just cut me a check.
Right.
I said, oh my goodness, this is a big problem because, right. These temp workers, I'm almost positive, don't classify as contractors. And the other big problem was that the experience that these temp workers were getting was absolutely terrible. We regularly talk to people that say that they collected, 30 or 40 T4s at the end of the year for the
smokes. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. No kidding. And that's like half the offices. And then the other half of the offices they go into, they're getting a check cut or an e-transfer. So they have to do their deductions or and figure that out, or they're going to get nailed. And we've talked to hygienists that have got nailed by the revenue agency, and they've got audited. So
and the CRA has actually hired on more people right now to find these issues out there as well.
Well, the bullseye is on the dental industry for this, right?
Right.
And I was speaking to the president of a big DSO at one of the big dental conferences just before we launched. And I told him what we were going to do, and he just said, "As soon as you launch, you phone me." and because he explained that they had been audited in the past. And they had been nailed for the misclassification of these temp workers as contractors. And they know that whenever they get a temp from one of these basement agencies, they have to put them on payroll. The problem is the administration time to bring them on for that day and then get rid of them because they got to get them off the books because there will be an ongoing liability. So you got to ROET for them, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Was insane. Like minimum, they said minimum it's taking 2 hours combined time to onboard and offboard them completely. So
like I don't know anybody out there that likes administration. I'm doing all my tax stuff right now. It gives me anxiety. Like the thought of having 30 slips coming in to put together, forget it.
Oh, it's unbelievable. So a lot of candidates were hitting the eject button, right? They're like, I'll never temp again because of this experience.
Right.
And so, we came in and we said, well, okay, we know how to do temp staffing. We literally employ thousands of people every year on our other divisions. Like, we're all set up for this, but let's add another layer here and really put some technology in here.
Right.
And where we, have this really great app for all of our workers where, they set their availability in the app. They're only notified, of jobs that match that availability. They check in, check out on the app to get the timesheet digitally signed at the end of the day, and it's completely paperless and seamless. And they are getting paid every week on time. They're not chasing paychecks, which was again another huge problem. So, our big thing is, like, if we can provide the best candidate experience, we will attract all of the best talent. And that's the big problem with any industry, is who's got the talent.
Let's pause there. So listeners out there, if they're looking to temp and work with workforce, how do they get started, Mike?
So it's really easy. You go to our website. There is a button there to register, and then we get some basic information, and then you'll get a follow-up email. We set up an interview with you, verify your credentials, potentially do some references, get some work history there, and then you're basically, once we do all the checks and balances, you're good to go.
Okay. What's the address? Website address? I'm going to look it up here.
WorkforceDentalStaffing.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going. Keep chatting.
Okay. Yeah. So you hop on there, you register, and once you're all set up and verified by your team, then you're in the app. You can go ahead and, as I said, like, create your availability, or block off days that you don't want to be notified by, and you're only going to get messages from us that match that availability. And it's really seamless from that point forward. Another thing that we are doing now, which, as a topic I think we should talk about, on how offices can really increase the revenue, is we're finding that, because of the technology we have and the systems we have in place, we're able to actually find and identify the available dates that candidates are looking for work. And I think typically, offices have looked to temp agencies as firefighters, right? Putting out fires. But you have to look at staffing in a different light. We call it proactive staffing. And it's, how do you get ahead of the curve? Because you're not going to be able to put out every last minute fire with a temp. So you're losing days of production every month, every year, and you need to get those back somehow. So what we're doing with a lot of our offices, are more sophisticated ones. We're going to them and we're saying, here, we've got a couple people. Here are the available dates they have. But I'll use the hygienist example. These are the days they're looking for work. Number one, do you have an open operatory that day? Do you have a backlog of patients? And do you have a wicked, front office receptionist, office manager that can phone people and get that day booked? And now, boom, you're locking in a guaranteed date availability of somebody and creating a day of production, right? And we had an office last year that did this, and they created nearly $300,000 of extra revenue by this approach. They
Amazing.
gobbled up every date of a hygienist that we had available in that area. And it was in a smaller market, which is, I think, definitely the way to go in a smaller market, because when you're in smaller markets, you have smaller pools of available people. So putting out fires with, a last minute temp becomes harder and harder as you get to a smaller a population that is smaller. So.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we run into it too. Like, we're sending patients to practices all the time, but you come up to that cap, right? It's all about having the girls to man the chairs, and that's how you grow. So, and then eliminating all the administration and bringing somebody in, it becomes kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean that's the other side too. Is I mean these offices should not be focusing on the admin side of things, right? I mean
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
didn't hire an office manager to collect payroll forms from every temp that walks through
Right.
and run payroll. They're there to drive patient care and revenue and fill the days and all the things that you guys talk about all the time, right?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so
It's
um,
the low value tasks are the killers, right? The tasks that are focused on just like the low hanging uh, administration type things that could be automated.
absolutely. I mean, that's why people utilize us, right? Because
Yeah.
we're a full service agency. We're not a basement agency. It's everything, from start to finish. It's amazing how much time is freed up when you actually use a real temp agency and it's all verified.
Hmm.
The other wild thing about these basement agencies out there is that they typically don't verify people
Right.
and they don't even check their licenses because they don't even employ them, so they don't care.
Right.
So they're not in some cases, like, you're going to get maybe someone there that's not licensed, but more importantly, depending on which part of the country you're in, Ontario is really bad one, is that if you get a temp assistant in Ontario through a basement agency and they're not employed by and put on someone's payroll, they are completely uninsured,
Right.
both workers' comp and professional liability. So if there's a problem in that operatory, everybody's going to get dragged in, right?
Right.
And it will get ugly really quick. So we provide also professional liability overarching all of our workers as well. So
Cool. Yeah, you got all the bases covered. I just, you know, I don't know, like why risk it? Like even with material, there's like,
it's wild, right? Because it's like, you know, a lot of dentists, they sacrifice so much
mhm,
to get to this point in their career and in their life, and they're gonna cut this last little corner that's going to potentially put them in a huge
I know.
amount of problems, right?
Yeah.
Or give them a bunch of problems, and so people like to look at, okay, well, what does it cost to get a temp and all this stuff. I mean, we're definitely different because we're billing back the hourly wages, the payroll taxes, and a service fee. These other agencies are typically just charging a placement fee, drop it on
Sure.
your
Sure.
door. So they want to compare this placement fee with our fee, and they really have to then examine the numbers, right? And they have to
Hmm.
look, okay, the numbers on the surface obviously don't match up, but what's it costing me with these other hidden costs, right? And
Absolutely.
when you break it down, you will see, and I got a couple slides I could share, that it is actually much more expensive to continue to use these basement agencies. It's really
Hmm.
bad, actually.
Yeah.
Um,
If you're using the services to take the low hanging tasks off your hand, you can focus on production, and that's the name of the game. Uh,
it's a big challenge for the little guys out there right now to compete with the big corporations, right?
yes.
We obviously work with all the big corps
Yeah.
across the country and in the states now, but we work with hundreds of independent offices because these are the ones that understand what we're trying to do and how much we're saving them, and or more importantly, how much we're producing, helping them produce,
That
right?
that's the way that they should be thinking. Yes.
Yeah, I think in the dental industry, from my interactions, which are new because we were very much blue collar before,
Yeah.
is that it's constantly about saving. How am I going to save on this? And you got to have to flip it around. You got to say, okay, how much am I going to make if
Yes.
if I utilize this?
Yeah.
I think there was a focus. There's been a general focus on the wrong number, but we work with over 1,000 offices now across the country, and we're just getting going, right? So the ones that understand it, like, sign up right away.
And I think a lot of that, and I don't blame the clinic owners out there. Like, it's the savings mentality is the numbers that they can control. So if it's saving on a cotton roll or saving on a service, it's something they could like tangibly manipulate. Where the growth thing is like an overtime thing. It's doing the right things. It's like going to the gym, right? You don't see the results right away like you would if you saved, X amount of dollars on a box of gloves. Like, if you do the right things over time, you will see the results. And it's tough to put that trust in somebody to deliver that, because at the end of the day, if it's like us as like a growth platform, or like yourself, it's kind of putting trust into the philosophy into the system, right? But I mean, you were talking about you had some numbers to back it up, so
yeah, I'd love to like kind of show you, what you have to consider as a dental practice when you're using an agency, right? And how it all adds up. So I got a couple slides here. I mean, there's really, we like to break it down into a few categories. Three main categories of hard costs, and then there's these intangibles that really ratchet up really quickly. But we got administration time, something we've coined called hostage pay, and the placement fee from these basement agencies. So administration time, as I mentioned before, that's that onboarding and offboarding of the worker, right? So that includes collecting their tax forms, their payroll forms, doing the records of employment, T4s. If you're in the States, W-2s, dealing with timesheets, candidate registration, making sure that they're actually licensed. Like, all these things add up. And as I mentioned, when we work with these DSOs, and I've asked them all, how much is it costing you, to bring on a temp for the day as far as time? And they're saying minimum 2 hours per person that comes through the door if it's just for one day. So, a conservative number, $30 an hour. So there's $60 right there. And an 8-hour day works out to $7.50 an hour. Hostage rate. This is a really big one. And this is right across the country in both Canada and the United States. So what we found was that because none of the agencies were directly employing the temps that they were sending, they didn't care what their wages were. So the temps would show up, and they would literally almost smell the desperation in the air, and then just like move the goalpost or demand a much higher wage. In fairness, if I was a temp and I had to collect 34 T4s at the end of the year and do my own taxes, then yeah, I probably would want, $5 or $10 more an hour, right? But the problem with this is that it's $5 or $10 more than the market, and your current full-time staff are going to hear that the dentist just paid this person that's not loyal to the office $5, $10 more an hour. It's going to create resentment and then ultimately upward pressure on wages, right?
Yeah.
So it's a huge gut blow to your internal staff, their happiness, and it's ultimately going to probably end up back, you pulling out your wallet and having to pay more for your current people, right? If people keep practicing this, right?
Well, and you mentioned it too, like the team harmony, like the culture is crucial in a practice.
Absolutely. So you have to consider this hostage pay, what it's doing, not only right at that moment, but also, in the long run. And then, placement fees for these basement agencies, that, average fee, call it $50-$60 an hour. It's another $7.50 per hour on an 8-hour day. So, these are the hard costs, right? What we're seeing here of using a basement agency per hour on top of the wages, right? So you got $20 an hour. The intangibles are right here. So you've got, as I mentioned, the opportunity cost, like your office manager, your receptionist. Why did you hire them? You hire them to collect, paperwork and deal with all this stuff? I don't think so, right? They're there to help, drive the business forward. The quality of workers, because we employ everyone we send, we must keep a check and balance and a review process in place so that any bad actors, anyone that is not good at their job, we get rid of them, right? So we monitor the quality of the people we send. Other things like these basement agencies provide almost no or little service. I challenge anybody to phone one of them and see if they pick up, because they won't.
Right.
So it's going to create canceled days, right? How much does it cost when you cancel a day? Not only the lost revenue for that day because you're getting no service, but the time it takes to reschedule those patients. And also, you're going to have unhappy patients that ultimately end up saying, you know what, I'm just going down the street to the other office.
That's where my mind's going. Like, that's a risk for sure.
Yeah. So, those are kind of the hidden costs, right? And, they have to be factored in. The good news is, like, we have addressed all of these things, just on the surface, the $20 an hour, I mean, we're beating this, right? So I hate to say, like, I hate to always talk about price, because it's really not. When it comes down to something like this, it should be the service, it should be the quality that matters, and the output. But we as a total can beat these numbers and provide way better service and way better solutions for an office to, like, really make some money, right? So.
Yeah, and that's the challenge out there. It's like the value of this service is, like, I wouldn't even be looking at a number like that. Like, if they're looking at their top line revenue and not their their overheads, that's where their heads should be at. It should be about growing the practice, not saving the practice money. Yes, you should do things that save the practice money, but let's there's different ways to go about that.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we're really we really dissected everything, to be honest with you, about the problems that were happening with dental staffing. I'm still shocked to this day that the staffing has been this bad for so long in such a huge industry, multi-billion-dollar dental industry, being serviced by one-man shows in their basement. It's crazy. It's unbelievable.
Right. Yeah. I think the problem with finding qualified workers out there, it extends out to the entire market. Now, whether that's, I don't know what the true answer is when it comes to that. Is it, people retiring or shifting over to doing other things? It's, I know the restaurant industry is hit kind of the same way, but
yeah, I mean, there's a big shortage, right? And I get this question all the time from the different industries we work in, like, what is going on? Where are all the workers? What's happened, right?
Yeah.
And there's a couple major factors, but the big thing that we see from our side is that any job that requires someone to show up to do it, meaning that's not like, you can't do a hybrid job, you can't do a remote job, which is dentistry, or a mechanic fixing a car. These jobs are not as desirable anymore, because COVID really pushed this work from home environment. And so the dental industry was already in a shortage of workers.
Oh yeah.
And now, because of this real, like, desire to have this work-life home balance, work from home, when someone comes out of school and says, okay, what path am I going to take? Am I going to go learn, Python code and be able to, do my work on a beach in Fiji half the year? Or do I have to get in my car every day and drive into work? And the money's probably better coding in some cases.
Well, now it's AI, right? AI is going to go sit on the beach.
Yeah, exactly, right. So there's a ton of different things that are playing into this, but as I mentioned, like any industry where it requires a worker to show up to do the job, there is a critical shortage of people wanting those jobs now because of the hybrid work.
Right. But I mean, with that being said, there's a tremendous amount of opportunity for those out there that want to really work, right?
Oh, it's a great industry. I mean, you're with great people. Dental offices are, you're working with some of the best and brilliant minds out there. So it attracts a really, really great group of people, right? And we're really happy to work with the hygienist assistants, the receptionists, and the dentists that we work with every day. I mean, it's a breath of fresh air. It's a very honorable and like rewarding career path, right?
Yeah. And forever changing too with technology and the practice. There's always something new to learn, which is a great place to be, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, Mike, this has been great. Any final burning thoughts that you'd want to share? And then let's tell folks how to get in touch with you and get signed up.
Big one. It's our biggest thing that we've been hammering home for 4 years is temps are not contractors.
Right.
They should be treated and paid like an employee, which means they have to be on someone's payroll. You will, if you don't use us, like, that's okay. I would love your business. But if you use another agency, you must take the time to put them on your payroll. You will get audited. It's not if, it's a matter of when. So just don't do that. If you need to get a hold of us, as an office or a candidate, workforcedentalstaffing.com. There's 2 links there. One for the candidates, one for the offices. It's the easiest way to start the process. If you're an office, we'll reach out to you once we get that registration, and we'll walk through our rate agreement, get you signed up. It doesn't cost anything to sign up. It's, you only get charged if you utilize our services. So it's great to have us in your back pocket. And also, if you want to get ahead of the staffing curve and take advantage of the proactive staffing approach, please reach out to us. We have an amazing group of people out here that are constantly offering up available dates of our people to the offices that really get it, and they get gobbled up really quickly. So,
right. Awesome. Thanks for your time, Mike. We'll have to do this again. I know there's some new developments coming, so we'll have to chat further about that. We can
we have some big changes coming in August, September, and I'd love to be back and show you what we're working on to really take what I'm talking about today to like the next level. It's very exciting.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm looking forward to hearing about all about that.
Cool.
All right, that's it for I guess it's Tuesday today. But yeah, no Tyler today and no Tyler Friday. So it's Marc solo.
All right, sounds good.
All right, Mike. See ya.
Okay, Marc. Take care.